In this video, I'm going to be going over some of my SEO tips. Well, first off is get your on-site SEO right. And what this means is working on making sure that keywords are entered, meta descriptions are entered into the site, all the different things that you need to have on-site keywords, meta descriptions, the way your link structure is, all the different things about on-site SEO. And you can actually do a quick Google search and see a lot more about on-site SEO, but that's kind of the first step, is making sure that you're easily found. And another way to really check on this is to sign up for a Google account and tie your Google Analytics account and also a Google Webmaster account to your site, and it can crawl your site, it can give you feedback on what to fix and how to do it, and all kinds of good information. So definitely check out the Google Webmaster tool to be able to see how to tweak your on-site SEO, and also use a SEO plugin on your WordPress site. I personally recommend WordPress SEO by Yoast, and I actually did a previous video on that with basically how to install it and kind of going over the different things, and it walks you step by step through optimizing a page. Basically, what do you want your focus keyword to be, putting it in the description, adding it to the site, making sure it's there, and it's got an analyzer that kind of gives you feedback. Okay, you need to tweak this, add more content here, do that, and it gives you kind of a grade at the end. Really, really, really great resource that I highly recommend using those 2 or 3 things to really kind of tweak your on-site SEO. And this is so important that this is a part of it, on-site SEO, but this is so important, I want to kind of emphasize it again, is alt tags and then the description and metadata on images and video. We're using images and videos and different things like that that really grab people's attention. It's part of a great design, but at the same time, Google can't scrape that for information. So you have to put in a good description. So if you upload a picture to the site and it says image underscore 001546778, Google has no idea what that image is. It's image 04567. But if you say it's an image of the White House and you're blogging about the White House, then you put White House, and then maybe at the date, or maybe some more information, but White House, and then in the metadata puts an actual description of what the image is about, and then that will help correlate with what your topic is and what's on your site and what's on your page and what's on your blog post, so that Google can say, okay, these are connected and this is what this image is and it looks really good, so we're going to put these together and increase the ranking of this site because it actually is indexing properly. And so that's very, very, very important, especially as images and video are increasingly more important in today's web design. And another important element, and this seems basic and rudimentary, but it's very, very, very important, and if you don't have this right, nothing else really is going to help you a lot, but this is kind of the starting point, is create quality, keyword-rich content. And what I mean by keyword-rich is, if you're talking about a particular topic, let's say you're talking about dog toys. Well, throughout your site, if you only mention dog toys once in the title of the site, and in the way that you're trying to be mentioned, found on Google or other search engines, it's probably not, that site's probably not going to rank very high. And so what you really have to make sure is that you focus on, okay, sit down and think, what do I want my keywords to be? Imagine how people are going to be searching for you, and maybe you want to rank for dog toys, but maybe people are searching for something completely different, like, play toys for my boxer, or whatever it is. And so then maybe you say, okay, well, we need to kind of focus on these top hit keywords and stuff like that. And actually, Google AdWords, which is Google's advertising program, has a good keyword research tool, and you can actually look for others online that'll kind of help you figure out, okay, what kind of search volume are we getting on this? What, kind of trace down what you need to be putting in there. And then when you write good, high quality content, kind of focus on adding those kind of interspersed in there. And you don't want to be just random and just put it in there and be talking about, cat litter boxes. It's like, okay, dog toy. You have to kind of work it into the content, but having quality content. And if you have 1 sentence, 2 sentences, that's probably not going to help you a lot. But if you have just paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs, that doesn't necessarily help you either. So just having a good happy medium of content on there that's high quality, keyword rich, is going to go very, very far in getting your site ranked. Also, creating custom landing pages. Now, this is very, very useful, and I've personally used this. Clients have used this, and this is very effective. So, let's say you want to rank for a keyword for web design, and insert the name of your city. Okay, so this is kind of focusing on a local service. All right, so let's take Vancouver, web design Vancouver. All right, so you want to be ranked for that. Well, if you just put web design in your site title, our company, XYZ Web Design Company. Well, if you put that in there and you're really focusing on we do great web design and all of a sudden you've got all this information about web design, but you never mention Vancouver, well, people who are doing local searches, businesses, different things, well, you may not be the first highest ranked person for web design. It may be someone more established company, a bigger company or something like that. But if you are focused on ranking for the word keywords, web design or small business web design Vancouver, now that's a niche that you can work on. So then you may not want that to be like all over your content on your site, but then create a custom landing page. And what you can do is create a landing page that has maybe that's the title of the page is small business web design for Vancouver. And so you have really keyword rich title, focus, tweak your content. Again, that really good keyword rich quality content that's focused exactly on laser focus on that particular keyword or keywords, and build all that out and put your tags and descriptions and your images and different videos you put on that site and everything. Work on your on-site keyword on-site SEO, the keywords, meta descriptions, all of that to really laser focus that page. Now, this may not be a page that you actually have a menu item on your site linking to this page, because you may not want people to kind of like go to it if they're just browsing through your site, but you can absolutely create this custom page that is keyword searched, and Google will find it and people will find it. And I've done this where my main site doesn't necessarily rank for a particular keyword, but my landing page does, and it's proven to be a dramatic improvement for ranking on a site by really putting that laser focus on it. It's really hard to create a whole really go through the entire site and create kind of an atmosphere where you focused around every keyword you want, but you can create custom landing pages for your top 3 or 4 or 5, 10 different keywords that you want. And that's a great way to really rank well and to really push that to the top without having to change everything on your site. And that's really good. All right, another thing is being mobile friendly with your web design. So Google has basically announced, and it makes sense, that because mobile is such a huge element of our world today, that websites that aren't mobile friendly, when someone does a mobile search, like say I'm on my iPhone or Android phone or tablet, and I'm looking up for a website, I need blah, 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 whatever it is, web service or whatever it is, well, all the ones that have mobile-friendly designs, which are actually going to look right on the device that I'm using, those are going to have higher priority in the rankings than websites that are, even though they may be more authoritative, that are that are the older style where they're not mobile responsive, and so they don't look good on a mobile screen. Google is saying, you know what, we really want to push you to kind of have a mobile-friendly design because, yes, you may have great content, but you just can't see it well on a mobile device. So that's why it's very, very critical to have mobile design first, because if you have anyone searching for your site, odds are they could be searched. Even if they look at your site on a desktop later, they may check you out on their phone first to just kind of search, or tablet or iPad or Android tablet or Windows tablet or whatever. And so that's a very critical element for keeping from being dropped in your rankings just by that element alone. All right, and another one is very interesting, is kind of Google's kind of migrating along here. As it used to be, well, however many visits you have, that was a huge element. Are you just getting lots and lots and lots of traffic? Obviously, people like your site. Well, people have kind of found ways to kind of work the system and everything to get lots of traffic, boost, they've got all the on-site SEO, everything's looking right, and so Google's ranking them high, but they may not necessarily be the best site. There may be another site that's better, but they just don't have the money and time and marketing and put all the energy and effort into it. But one really important factor, and Google's looking at this more and more and more and more, and other search engines as well, I believe, but that's social engagement and interactions. So if you have a website, now it may not have been around for 50 years like this other website over here, or 15 years or whatever, it may only be 2 or 3 years old, but it's got a really good quality content. It's, it's mobile friendly, it's got all this design, built in, but then, it only has 10,000 hits a month. The other site has 50,000 hits a month, but this 10,000 hit site has, 3, 4, 5, 10,000 of those people talking about them on social media. They're sharing the page, and then you're getting much more interaction on social media, and they're linking back to this particular site. And so you're seeing, okay, there's engagement, there's interactions, there's obviously a conversation happening here. And so Google's giving more rankings to that because people are actually online on social media and social channels a lot more. And that's where a lot of web interactions actually happen. And so they're giving a lot more ranking to that. So really push your social engagement, push having your social icons and different things like that. Try to engage, post on your social networks if you have them and if that's appropriate, which in most cases it is, and try to get people to link back into your site and visit that way, share. And you don't necessarily have to go viral, but just having that really helps with your rankings. And also, tweaking your site for max site speed. Now, this is actually more important than you might think. In days going by, a site people would sit there and wait for a page to load because they understood, okay, it's just going to take a second. Well, now people have been spoiled to such fast internet speeds and different things like that if your site doesn't load in less than a second, 1 to 2 seconds, 3, 4 seconds, you get much past that. I mean, they're not going to sit there for 15 or 30 seconds or a minute to wait until the site loads or your background image loads, because they're going to, oh, there's something wrong with that, or it's broke or something, and they'll move right along, because people just do not have the patience for that. And people will complain, or they won't won't be as likely to share different things. So you can really focus on tweaking your site for maximum site speed. And if you're using a self-hosted plan, then you might want to look into caching plugins for WordPress, and that's really a good way to speed up your site. Looking at the actual host company speeds. And one that I recommend is actually going with a managed hosting provider that focuses on site speed, and one that I personally recommend is Flywheel, and getflywheel.com, and they really do a great job. They have an on-server caching built specifically for WordPress to maximize your site speed. But there's other things you can do. There's minify your CSS and different files and different things like that. Your background images and site images and different things like that. Compress them down without losing a whole lot of quality, but just compress them down to as small as you can. And so there's not as much loading on your site. And maybe your homepage is a little simpler, and then they kind of click to other things to go where they want instead of trying to load everything on your homepage. And so really take that into consideration, and looking at plugins and different things. Is this going to add a lot of wait time, if you will, when people come to my site? Is this going to slow it down? And a good way to do this, to check this, is to go to someone else's computer who doesn't visit your site all the time and just time it and say, okay, how long does it take? And actually, Google Webmaster Tools and Analytics and different things like that actually have a lot of good resources for seeing your average site speed and site download time and kind of different things like that. So that's really a great tool to look at. And then lastly here, focus on quality backlinks. In the past, people would have all kinds of backlinks because Google was like, okay, if there's a lot of people linking to this site, then obviously they're an authority on this topic and people are, wanting to view this site and different things like that. So they boost their rankings. But now they're getting really careful about that, because backlinks are good and authoritative quality backlinks are really good. But if you just have 58 billion links coming back to your site, it may or may not help you. It depends on the quality of the links. And this, a few years ago, it kind of gave birth to where you could go online and buy backlinks, where, these companies would create all these different websites and networks and, all these different, this web, if you will, of its own, of different things. And you could, pay $85 a month, and they would, link all their sites to yours, and, it'd supposedly boost your ranking and different things like that. And you still see people trying to do that today. But actually, with the latest Google ranking systems and algorithms and stuff that actually might hurt you if they have a lot of low quality negative backlinks or ones that they've blacklisted. If all those are coming to your site, it may not help you. It may actually hurt you. And so having good quality backlinks will help. And you don't even have to have just a ton of them. The more the better, but focus on quality, not quantity. And so that's a really good way. And then again, the social method of Facebook and Google Plus and LinkedIn, Twitter, all of those are authoritative sites. Google recognizes those as being legitimate, well-renowned websites. And so if you have a lot of people sharing it online and sharing your link and stuff like that, that's going to come back and that will help you as well. So let me just kind of give a little disclaimer here at the end to say there's no guarantees when it comes to SEO, rankings on Google. Well, I can get you on page number 1, and people can try to do that, and it's really a matter of really working it and investing in it, and it's about time and energy and effort that you put into it to get there. And by no means, if you do everything on this that I've given you here, that should really, really help. But I'm by no means giving you a guarantee that you're going to be number 1 in your area. It really depends on how big the market is, how involved your competition is, and different things like that. But at least with these tips and tweaks, you can really take a step up. And if you really focus on it, you can be on number 1 on page number 1. And so if you really put the time and effort into it and the energy and really focus on building good quality content, getting quality backlinks, tweaking your site for speed, mobile-friendly design, social engagement, interaction. If you take the time to do this, it will naturally happen, because what this means is that people are finding you, you're being successful. And if you are, then you will rise to the top of the rankings, because that's what Google's looking for. That's what sites are looking for. And if you tweak it and make sure it's right and make sure there's no errors in Google Webmaster Tools and different things like that, then there's no reason you shouldn't rank. And so I encourage you, really think about this first before you build out your entire site, and definitely start working on it. And even if you already have a site, focus on these topics to really kind of boost your overall SEO. And I think that you'll find this to really give you a dramatic improvement overall. So again, these are my tips, and I just hope that this is very helpful and useful to you. And the more you work on it and the more you update it, it'll take time, but you really can improve your site's SEO on WordPress.